Hello, 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 everyone. Let's see who is going to join us tonight. All right. If you are here in the comments, please go ahead and say hello so I know who's hanging out with me tonight. And I, in the meantime, am going to go ahead and share this with our groups. So hopefully everyone finds us without any issues. Okay. Okay, wrong. Nope, this is not what we want. Stop. Go. We want our actual current. There it is. Now we can share groups. There's the VIP and our team. Okay, there we go. Oh, hey, Kay. So glad you could join. I see you there on YouTube. So happy to see you. All right. You got stuck in a blizzard last week. Ew. We did get, I want to say it was Tuesday. I think it was Tuesday or Wednesday, because now the days all kind of blended together all last week because it was a crazy week, but I think it was Tuesday. We got like 18 inches between like a 24-hour period. It was not pretty. So yeah, this weather is really crazy. Mother Nature is in her schizophrenic phase here. And hopefully she's going to mellow out and we're going to see some real spring. 23 inches and freezing rain. Ugh, yuck. Freezing rain, I do not do well with. Snow, I mean, I can crab about it, but I don't like it. I can deal with it. Freezing rain, it's a whole nother level of I'm not going out in it. Oh, yuck. All right, let's get on to our housekeeping real quick, and then we can get on to the Stampin'. No, I'm sure it wasn't pretty. Oh, hey, Barb. So glad you could join. All right, so real quick, Paper Pumpkin. We are now in the April subscription period. Excuse me. We are in April. So you have from now until April 10th to get in on the Lakeside Retreat. That is going to have a masculine theme to it. It says, show your appreciation for the men in your life with cards inspired by tranquil waterside scenes. It is going to coordinate with the Waterside Retreat Suite Collection, which is a collection you're going to find in the new annual catalog coming out in May. It'll make 9 cards, 3 each of 3 designs with 9 coordinating envelopes. It's going to have paper pieces and enameled pebbled embellishments. The stamp set will be tailored to male recipients, and the coordinating colors are going to be Balmy Blue, Misty Moonlight, Old Olive, Peaceful Pine, which is a new in color coming out, Pecan Pie, and Pool Party. And the ink spot will be the new color, Peaceful Pine. So definitely something to keep your eyes open for your mailboxes if you are into Paper Pumpkin. Oh, hey, sis. Glad to see you. All right. Paper Pumpkin with the March kit did increase in price. It is now $29 per kit, but definitely worth every penny. It also coordinates with the Beautiful Blooms add-on dies. Those are available while supplies last. We also have the March product of the month that is available. Spend $75 in the online store, and you can add this to your order for $5, and it is absolutely adorable with the notes of spring. You get the little fawn, the goose, the little bunny, the floral, and then the little sprigs of grass here. And you have some really nice sentiments, especially for you. A little note of thanks and happiest birthday wishes are the sentiments that coordinate with this. Just a reminder too that Stampin' Up! Every month does release 2 to 3 new kits a month. And for the month of March, they did release 3, and they do coordinate together. And of course, we had our big drop of the March online exclusives, one of which we are going to be using tonight. We're using the Garden Poetry Suite. Featuring the Paradise Garden bundle. And this bundle does have a hybrid embossing folder. And we will see that in action this evening. So putting all this aside, we are going to go ahead and see what we're doing tonight. So with that, so here's our cards tonight. So the first one is a wishing you a lovely day. And our hybrid embossing folder does emboss and cut at the same time. And we have these little, they're actually partial cuts, so that you actually have some dimension, extra dimension to your card. And these all kind of pop up. Some of them I did seal down, but there's all these different little cuts that do pop. So it's pretty cool. So you're going to see that in action tonight. And then, of course, we have this thank you card with this brand new Berry Burst ribbon. And then this textured foil. You want to see that. And then this one, you make the world a better place. Again, more of that textured foil. And then some of this beautiful paper. So we're going to start with our first card here, which is the wishing you a lovely day. But before we do that, I do want to show you the paper. So part of that suite, you get the Garden Poetry Designer Series paper. And with this, you have the, I can't remember the name of the green here. It's the Shaded Spruce. You have Berry Burst. So the Shaded Spruce, you have this leafy pattern, and then you have this watercolor piece. Then the Berry Burst, again, watercolor. And then these watercolored leafy patterns. More watercolor. And then this is the, did they say this one is the, it's pumpkin pie and crushed curry. So you have crushed curry, pumpkin pie mixed into here. There's a little bit of Poppy Parade into this because, again, it's like a washed watercolor. And then this is the Blueberry Bushel. And then the watercolor and more of the Shaded Spruce. And again, here we go into the pumpkin pie, crushed curry, and then the watercolor side. Gorgeous paper. And then it is gorgeous paper. I do agree, Sherry. This is the Garden Textures Specialty Foil. And this comes in the 12 by 12. And you get the 3 colors. Blueberry Bushel. And this is the Shaded Spruce. The, oh my gosh. I just can't say it in the color. And my brain is blanking out on me. Berry Burst. And, of course, the Blueberry Bushel, which is such a rich, beautiful blue. So, love these. So, that is all part of the Suite collection. And then, of course, you have the beautiful ribbon, which is the shiny ribbon. And this is in Berry Burst. And it's very, very rich in color. I don't know if I can get it in there. There we go. It's got a little sheen to it. They are absolutely beautiful colors, Barb. I have to agree. Oh, hey, Paulette. Glad you could join us. All right. And then part of that suite is also, these are the garden epoxy dots. So you have the Flirty Flamingo, and then, of course, you have your Berry Burst, Blueberry Bushel, and the Crushed Curry in both the actual dots. And then you have these clear epoxy dots with a little flower. I don't know if you can see. There you can. There's a little flower on the underneath the clear epoxy. So really pretty. We'll be using those tonight. Whoops. If I don't lose them, dropping them on the floor over here. There we go. Okay. So we're going to start with card number 1. So for this card, we have a thick basic white card base, 8.5 by 5.5. It is scored at 4 1/4. And we're going to grab our bone folder and we are going to go ahead and fold on our score line. We want to make sure everything lines up nicely. Just like so. And that goes like that. Next, I have a piece of Pretty Peacock. This measures 4 1/4 by 5 1/4. It is a full card front. So it goes from top to bottom. We didn't leave any border. And this is what we're going to run through our embossing folder. This is the hybrid embossing folder. So this works with a die. And it's, of course, the embossing folder. And it's called Paradise Garden. And like I said, it is part of the bundle. The Paradise Garden. All right. So we have this full-sized die that has all these little partial cuts. And it fits in here. You just got to find where it kind of locks in. And this. There it goes. It locks in right there. We're going to go ahead and put our Pretty Peacock right inside here. And we're going to close that up. And that looks pretty good. So we're going to go ahead. And I have here, we're going to bring the big boss in for this. Let me see if I can. There we go. That looks pretty good. So we have our platform, which is the number 1. If you can see that. Number 1 is our platform. Then we put our cardstock with the embossing folder and die down. And then we have our specialty plate, which is the number 4. It's the big, thick gray plate that goes with this. It comes with your big boss. And you run it through. Okay, so now get this out of the way. And we're going to get our cardstock out. So I'm going to go ahead and set that aside. Now, I'm just going to kind of pop some of these up a little bit. That looks pretty good. We'll get that one too. All right. And then I actually, because this is a full card front, I'm going to go ahead and add my adhesive directly to my card base, because trying to put adhesive on with all those cuts, I think would be very difficult. So I'm just going to go right down through here like so. And then let's see. Make sure everything lines up. There. So there's our card front. So now we can set that aside. And then we're going to bring in, I have here a scrap of petal pink and some basic white scraps to do our stamping and die cutting. So we're going to start with our larger scrap, and I need my leaves and the sleeve. And we are going to do, let's see. I have here Pretty Peacock, and I'm going to stamp 2 of these larger leaves. So we're going to do 1. I'm going to flip that around and do 2. There's those. And now we can clean this off. And we're going to close this up momentarily, because we will need that again. And then I have here the lemon lime twist. So I have this leaf, and this leaf. That looks like I have plenty of cardstock. We can do this way. There we go. All right. So we can close this up. And we'll clean these off. And let's go ahead. I'm going to put my dies. So here's the dies. This is just a few of them, because there's the rest. Little tip, I like to put my dies on magnets, but I'm actually out of magnets right now. And if you are like me, you struggle getting your dies back on so that they all fit on these cards. If you take a marker and outline your dies, I usually go around the outside, but this time I went through the inside. It doesn't matter what you do, how you do it, but it just makes it easier for putting your dies back on here, at least temporarily, until you get a magnet sheet that will fit them all. Just a real quick idea for you. This is the card where the large die that goes inside the embossing folder sat on this one. But then this card held all the other dies. But we have this label die, And then this flower and that flower, I used all the other ones. So those are the only 2 dies I did not use. And here they are on my little magnet. I like to use this when this is just something I found at Hobby Lobby some time ago out shopping. It is a magnet that I can just have here at my workstation, holding all my dies. So for this one, I need this leaf, and this here leaf. So we're going to set that aside here, and we're going to line things up. All right. So this one is going to line up with this leaf here. And what did I do there? Need my Post-it tape. And Post-it tape, I got like 4 rolls of this. Really inexpensive, off from Amazon. So if you're looking for Post-it tape, that's a go-to for me to get it. But of course, a Post-it note will work just as well. There we go. Get that down. Then this one lines up with this leaf. There we go. Get the stem in there. Okay. And then this larger one aligns with this one here. There we go. And then we also want our little octagon shape for our petal pink. Okay, so now we're going to bring in the baby boss, because we love our baby boss. And we need our baby boss plates. Like so. Run that through. So there's our lemon lime twist leaves. Now we're going to pull these dies off. And now we got to take this die and line it up with the second. Boy. Maybe. There we go. Okay, so there's our second pretty peacock leaf. And the next thing we need is our little octagon here, or hexagon, or whatever you want to call that shape. Little stop sign. Okay. So now we have that. That goes back to the magnet. And let's put this one. Okay. Next, we need our Pretty Peacock ink pad again. And for this one, we need our sentiment, wishing you a lovely day. I'm going to ink that up. Make sure that's nice and straight. And stamp our sentiment. Wishing you a lovely day. Okay, so now we close this up and now we assemble. So first thing, we're going to grab our leaves here. And this one and this one go together. Okay. Next, I'm going to add adhesive and adhesive. All right. So we're going to bring in this leaf here, like so. And then this one is going to go a little more adhesive. Oop. So that's going to stick on there like so. Then this one and a little more adhesive. And then that one kind of goes in like so. Then the next thing we're going to do is grab our dimensionals. And I like to put a couple on here just to reinforce our leaves. And then a couple more. And then we're just going to peel those backings. And then bring that up like so. Is that not the cutest? And then we're going to grab those garden epoxy dots. And these are really adhered on here desperately. So to get them off, I am going to use my take your pick tool, but I'm going to use the pokey tool end instead of the putty end. And I'm using the Flirty Flamingo color. We're just going to do one there. One here. And then one down here. And that completes our first card. Super quick. The embossing folder does 90% of the work. Looks like we did lose a leaf there though, but it still looks good. It's just a popped up. And if you see where it went, you could actually just stick it back in there, and it could maybe be still in the folder. It's not though. Oh wait, maybe it is. Easy fix. Haha. Little bit of glue. Where's our, take your pick tool. There. And that corrects and fixes our card. I will let them know, Sherry. Thank you. Okay. So card 1 is done. And again, that was a quick and easy card. But like I said, packs a lot of punch with all that dimension, I think. Okay, we are on to our second card, which is our thank you card, done in the Berry Burst. And this one, nope, that's not it. Ah, here we are. Okay, so again, pulling all of our parts and pieces out here. Let's get rid of all this stuff in our way. Okay, thick basic white card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And I don't know, I think my might have been looking at something weird when I was scoring that. That does not look scored correctly. Luckily, we have our foam folder here, and we're just going to fold it where it's supposed to be folded. There we go. All right, so there is our card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Then I have a piece of Berry Burst. This measures 5 in, oh my gosh, 5 3/8 by 4 1/8. And then I have a piece of the designer paper, 5 1/4 by 4. And these are going to layer together. We're going to go ahead and add our adhesive. And we're just going to have a nice little tiny border here. Yeah, that looks better. And then this layers onto our card front. And again, just going to have that little bit of a border of white peeking out, just like so. Okay. Next, I have a piece of that textured foil in the Berry Burst color. And I cut this 4 inches by 3 inches. And for that, I'm just going to kind of add this to an angle on our card front. And I'm going to use dimensionals to do that. So we're going to start with dimensionals. And I'm going to show you. I put my dimensionals. I used 6 dimensionals, but I kept them towards the top and towards the bottom because then I can kind of snake my ribbon in through it. And this helps anchor everything. So I'm not trying to keep everything from moving around while I'm trying to tie my ribbon. So this stays put. Get these backings off. Oh, congratulations, Sherry. Okay, so now this foil just kind of goes at an angle right here in the center of our card front, just like that. So then, what did I do with my ribbon? We're going to take our ribbon and, oops. I'm just going to, again, snake that in just like so, because, like I said, I've got my dimensionals located so that doesn't interfere with doing this. And it just helps with the whole operation. Gosh, there's my tweezers. So excited I found those last week. So now we just tie our ribbon. Use our little tweezers here. And notice I'm not fighting the paper while I'm trying to tie the ribbon because everything is anchored by going ahead and adhering it down and allowing me to now focus on the ribbon and not chasing the card too. All right, and then we just pull. Oop. There we go. And now we need our snips. Okay. There's our piece there. Okay. Next. Those out of the way. I do want to bring in my, where did I see it? Don't I have my, I thought I had my, oh, here it is. I was going to say, I thought it was over here. Whoop. Sorry about that. I was trying to see what I had going on here. All right. Need our cushion. Because, as you can see, I wasn't using it when I did this one, and it did get a little blotchy right there. So we want a cushion when we're going to stamp our flower. And where did I put that flower stamp? Right here. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we have this great big flower, and we need our berry burst. So we're gonna ink this up. I bet it's been a long time coming. Holy. At least, what, 10 years anyway, or more. Okay, here we go. Let's see, that looks good right here. We're gonna stamp that down. Make sure we put enough pressure to transfer all that ink. Much better using a cushion. I hope you can see the difference. 14 years. Wow, I knew it had to be up there. All right, I'm going to put this aside for just a minute because while I have the berry burst going, I'm going to bring in my scrap of basic white that I'm going to do my sentiment on. This is 1.5 inches wide. How long is it? It doesn't need to be this long. It just happens to be 6 inches long, but it's a 1.5 inches wide for our sentiment. Thank you. And we're going to use that cool little label die to cut this out. So we're going to get this in here first. Thank you. And there's that. All right, so now we're done with the berry burst ink pad for now. And let's go ahead and clean this off. And then we're going to bring back the scrap here. And we need this leaf and this leaf. So again, the larger 2 leaves we are going to do in Pretty Peacock. Clean that off. I like that large banner too. It is a really cool banner, I have to say. And then we're going to go back to the lemon lime twist. And there it is. Ink this up. I don't know if anybody remembers, but lemon lime twist and berry burst are both they're core colors now, but they used to be in colors, and they were in colors together back when they were in colors. But now they are in our core colors, and I love them together still. Oh. Okay. Dies, we need this one, this one. Oops, not you. This one, and oops, this one. Okay, let's try to get everything lined up again. Let's see if we can't. Looks pretty good. And then the flower. And baby boss. Our baby blessed plates. And we roll it through. There. The next thing we need is our thank you. And we roll that through. So there's our banner. Get our leaves. And our flowers. Okay. Bring our card back in. And we're going to start with our flowers. And we need dimensionals. Peel those backings off. And let's go ahead and do adhesive back here. And we're going to do the berry burst. Or berry burst. Lemon lime twist. And then the pretty peacock, which I think really pops with these colors. I don't know what anybody else thinks. And I think I'm going to add a dimensional back here to help reinforce them. And now oh, so there's that. And now we add our thank you banner. Like so. Bring back our epoxy dots here. Again, these are called the garden epoxy dots. And for these, we are going to use these little flower in the berry burst color. And there is your second card for the evening. And once again, quick and easy, simple layout, and we're good to go. I have not embossed these foil papers yet, Barb, but I would assume they would emboss beautifully just based on the feel of them. They do have a white backing, so they may have that white core come through. But again, if sometimes you want that look because it gives you that worn look to it. So if you don't mind that look, I would say it would probably work fine. Thanks, sis. Well, thank you, Miss Kate. I am so glad you like it. All right. So now we are on to our final card. And this, boy, this one really could be my favorite. Possibly, maybe. I don't know. I really like it. All right. So for this one, as per the others, we have our thick basic white card base, 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. So again, we are going to match up our ends here and make sure everything lines up and use our bone folder to burnish that edge. All right. Then I have a piece of that card's designer series paper, and this measures 4.5 by 3.5. And that is going to go on the center of our card base, just like so. So again, 4.5 by 3.5. And that goes right there in the middle. Then I have a basic white card piece. This measures 4 inches by 3 inches. And that goes in the center of our designer series paper. I did. And I popped that up on dimensionals. Before I do that, though, I'm getting ahead of myself. We want to stamp, "You make the world a better place." So we want "You make the world a better place." And we're going to do that again in Berry Burst. So we're going to stamp in Berry Burst right here on the bottom of our basic white panel that measures 3 inches by 4 inches. And there is that. Oh, I didn't even notice, Sherry. I got to get this time to change, but I didn't have time this weekend. It's been a busy weekend. All right, so there's that. Now we can continue with getting our dimensionals in place. And one more because we don't do saggy centers. Oh. All right, now we want to get all these backings off. Okay, and we're going to center that onto our designer series paper. And this is, goodness. There we go. Next, we're going to cut our foiled piece using our little hexagon die here. So we can go ahead and do that. Yeah, we need our baby boss. So there's that. Set that aside for a minute. We can go ahead and add our dimensionals to this. We grabbed an extra dimensional here. It's all right. We'll use it. All right, and that's going to go right into the center-ish, top center of that basic white panel. All right, so next I am going to bring back my cushion, and I want, there it is. And for this, we're going to use shaded spruce. And this is our large leafy patterned stamp from the Paradise Garden. Okay. And we're just going to stamp that there. And again, just make sure, put enough pressure to transfer all of that ink. Like so. Then close this up, clean this off. And here's my, there they are. We need our two little flowers. And for those, we're going to use the berry burst again. So we have, this is the larger flower. And we're going to stamp that like so. And then we have our little flower. And we need two of these. Do one and two. Okay, now we're done with this. And we need this one, and this one. All right, so let's get this in place. Do this little flower here. Let's see. And then we'll do this one. Get it to stop sticking to my finger. Okay. So, that doesn't look. Let's get that one. Okay. Baby Boss. Plates. No, Barb, it is one of the online exclusives that came out in March. It is, where did I put that? Well, online exclusives, it's this one right here. This page. I printed them off from the Dumpster website, but it's this one here. It's called the Garden Poetry Suite Collection. It's the Paradise Garden Bundle. Okay, we need one more flower. So we got this flower, we got that flower, and we got our little greenery. Now we gotta put this back, that back, and we need this die here to line up one more time. And there's the there we go. You're very welcome. Okay. And there's our second. Okay. Oops. Lose a die. There we go. That goes away. That goes away. Gets out of the way. All right. So next, I am going to use, if I can find, do I have my minis? I do have minis. Okay, we're going to use our minis. And I'm going to put a mini here. And up here. Oop. There we go. And we're just going to do a little well. And now those little mini dimensionals are going to hold it in place there. A little adhesive there. And then the larger flower goes right there. And then our two smaller flowers. This one's going to kind of tuck. And that one's going to go right there. And then For this card, I used the old standbys, our basic rhinestones, because I thought these little flowers needed sparkle. So we're just going to come in with our take your pick tool, and right in the center of each of these flowers, we're going to stick a rhinestone. And that finishes our third card. So not a one of these took a lot of time or a lot of effort. They all went pretty quickly, pretty easily. And here we are. We're done. All right, real quick recap. Now, just to remind everyone, especially if you are new here, every Sunday we go live. On Monday, I do have a coordinating blog post that goes up and an email that goes out. Both the blog post and the email contain the link to the PDF where you can get all of the directions for these cards. So every week, the blog post goes up on Monday and the email goes out Monday, and they both contain the link. You can get the printable PDF. It has all the measurements, all the supplies used. So again, you can easily recreate these cards on your own. Well, thank you, Miss Kay. I really appreciate that. So you either want to make sure you're on my mailing list, or you want to be making sure you're heading over to my blog, katrinascreativeheart.com, and you can grab those instructions. So, all right, that's all I have for you guys this evening. Again, thank you so much for coming to hang out with me. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. And I hope to see you all again next week. God willing, we will be back with some more fun stamping. In the meantime, have a fabulous rest of your evening and an even better week ahead. Bye for now, guys. Again, thanks so much.